Okay, so hello all. We would be beginning our session today, and well, clearly, I think there's only one line in NQ that you can see because I haven't marked any other line, and that is right at this low. So that is my first current draw, and if you look at ES right here, just gonna show it to you. ES gave us the target we were expecting since Monday, I suppose. Uh, I have mentioned in the live stream, in one of the live streams. I don't remember. In fact, I think in many of the live streams. I don't remember when did I exactly mention it, but somewhere in this vicinity, I guess, or maybe even here. I'm not so sure about that. So we were looking for what price? We were looking for 69.50, and that's exactly where the market has tapped into and has rejected so far. That doesn't mean that's the end of it, or that doesn't mean it's now going down or it's going higher again. I have no idea about that. I am currently looking, my best draw is this right here, and then that low, that whole gap on the daily, right? That liquidity void right there. So that is my current draw. I think it would be better if I use a parallel channel because it's much more clear in that regard. So that is the liquidity void right there. Not the imbalance. The imbalance is like, this is the complete imbalance, but that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the void right there, the gap in between where no trading was done whatsoever, right? So yeah, that's my draw at the moment. If we move on to the 1 hour time frame, again same things. I expect this candle or the next candle to drop lower. Okay. uh, hmm yeah, we can take that low as well. I mean, in between the targets, because it's an hourly chart, right? So yeah, this low also right there. All these are targets at the moment. If I am to expect something from the 9:30 open, since it is so close to the draw, it's kind of unlikely that it would want to go higher and then come back down. Kind of unlikely. Again, I'm not one-sided here in that approach. Like, my narrative is not fixed right now. My narrative is absolutely flexible in the moment. But my draw is very clear. I'm looking for lower prices right there. I'm waiting for the narrative to get more clearer in that regard. And as for NQ, we've already said we're looking at that low. Then we have that low right there. I am not confident yet if this low would be taken, but since ES has that low and that volume imbalance, we might want to tap into it. But yeah, the first draw is still that only, that low right there, which was the yesterday's news lows, the Fed conference. I did take a trade yesterday, but I was way off. I sold somewhere here, looking for that low at that point. The execution would be right here actually. Yeah, right there. Sold there, but had to get out because it didn't work out, not the way I was looking for it. And yeah, I can see that, like, those are too many executions, and well, it has been a tough week, honestly speaking. Not in the terms of trading, but in the terms of being, I would say. The last week was pretty decent, without a doubt, but this week has been a bit tougher. But that's okay. And also, one of the reasons being that it was fully packed with news events, right? Look at that from Monday itself, I believe. Not from Monday, okay. From Tuesday along, it was only news, 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 and all the fact, like all the these things, markets, right? I don't understand why the same is not visible here, but that's okay. Again, not my concern. On the charts, it's visible always. Here, it's not looking red folder events, but there were multiple red folder events. I know. See, like if you see it on what euro maybe, see there lots of red events, and for some reason it doesn't show up in the calendar. I don't understand why. Sometimes does, sometimes doesn't. So well, whatever it is, not a concern to me because I follow this right here. It shows me that there's a news incoming, and yep, I think that would be it. Yeah, going back again, what are we looking for? We are looking for lower prices. I'm going to shut down the executions. We don't need them right now. Okay, right. So that's the low I'm looking for. That is the breaker which can be tested right there. It's also the NDOG if you really see. It's a big, very decent sized NDOG. Not that I have any interest in it right now, but let's just take a look at it. Right, so that is the NDOG right there. So since the market has broken down from it, it may want to come back into it before falling off. Now, what am I expecting overall? If I look at the longer term bias, which most likely should be bearish, at least for like these lows, at least some stop outs, because there have been lots of gaps which have been left in between, and the market is on all-time highs, right? Again, not in the sense of shorting all-time highs, but yeah, it is on all-time highs, and there are many lows which remain free. And you see that RTH gap. I mean, there are so many RTH gaps right there. So I do believe the market would want to slightly push lower, slowly. Maybe not at a very good pace, but definitely should push lower. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Let's see, we have 1 minute 15 seconds on the clock before the market opens. And yep, काफ़ी सारा काम हुआ इस वीक. I mean, I worked on a lot of things in trading itself. काफ़ी कुछ I had to develop. I had to understand what mistakes I'm making. I mean, it's a work in progress forever. That's something that I understood very late, honestly. It took me almost 3.5 years to realize that it will always be a work in progress because the situation is variable, the markets are variable, so things will change, you will change, there are a lot of factors there, life will happen in between. So yeah, like lots of things, right? So it's a work in progress forever and ever, and this is what really makes this profession unique and in itself difficult also. Now if I look at this right now and the opening that's coming, I would say we want to take that stop out. But where is my draw? My draw is not bullish. I'm looking for bearish prices, right? So yeah, just to be clear on that. Not to you guys, to be clear with myself. I see that gap also right there in 5 minutes. It does have my interest. So we have opened. Let's see how we behave. Do we straightforward move lower, or do we come back, take some stops out, and then we go lower? Because that will set the game also. Because if it doesn't go higher and goes lower, what does that mean? That it will come back again for stops most likely. So yeah, that could happen. I am watching ES on the other screen, and well, ES is still to make to that low. Let's see. Okay. So where I got stuck, one of the things that I realized that I got stuck in tape reading. Like that might sound a bit funny. Funny as in like it's weird, right? Because tape reading is what we do. That is true. But tape reading comes with a greater context. Like me looking for that low. Let's say I'm not saying it's going higher, but let's say this candle says that it wants to go higher now. So I'm like, okay, we are moving higher. What I tend to forget is we are not moving higher per se, we are moving higher to sell off. Because why? My concern is this low right here. That's my draw, right? So that's what I'm looking for, that very low. So if the candles tell me they're going higher, what am I looking for? I'm looking, okay, it's moving higher. Where can it go where it wants to sell off? Like this is a good point. And that is also the gap on the 5 minute. That's also NDOG center level, right? The 50% CE, consequent encroachment. That would also be this order block right here in 1 minute. So that's how I'm seeing it. And if it takes the low first, then we are going to watch what it does, if it wants to go higher or does it want to break lower further. So that's 8:30 right there. Mm, okay. I believe the low is now more obvious. It should take that out any moment now. Now NQ is very close, but ES has failed so far to come closer to the low, when ES looked to be much more closer. And there you go. NQ has the low, but ES has not yet taken it. It's almost there, but yet to take it out. There you go. So ES also has that low right there. And now what am I looking at? Mm, See that low? How that low is so important again, because it's a previous day's low in the RTH. It was not looking like that when you saw the electronic trading chart, right? So that's why the RTH chart is very important. There we have that low as well. Same for ES. ES has also taken that second low we marked. Okay. So far a one-sided session. Just looking at the consistency through which the market has dropped, I really don't feel that we would be seeing another all-time high or some highs like some buy stops today. That is something I'm looking at. I think it would be a bearish day even further. We have been dropping since, well, midnight itself. Now, ES is almost there to tap into the daily volume imbalance we marked. Almost there. See. Honestly, live kind of bores me. The market doesn't, but live does. But at the same time, it also is helping me expand in many manners. So that is the reason I was thinking, like today itself, I was like, let's not do lives anymore. Maybe record it if you really want to, and then put out a video or something. And that does seem like a good idea, but I also understand that, well, I'm still working through it exactly what I want with the life. Do I want to do it? Do I don't want to do it? Do I need to do it? Do I don't need to do it? Something like that, I'm just trying to, I'm working my way around it to see what really should be done. See, NQ is dropping sharply, but not ES. So where is NQ going? Right there. There you have it. And it doesn't look like, but yeah, The low that we marked was 25,943 and 3/4, and the low on this very candle is 25,942 and a quarter, right? So that's almost that's exactly 1.5 handles below the marked low. So we have that, but interestingly, ES has still not touched the daily volume imbalance. I'm checking if I've marked the wrong low or anything, and I think I yes. Okay, so we have not taken the low. I'm so sorry. That was a mistake from my end. That's why I was going back to check. We are yet to take the low by one. No, we have taken the low, right? 943. I'm so sorry again. Second time. 943, right? And we have tabbed 942.25. So yeah, the low is taken anyway. But ES, like I said, is still right there. It has not tapped into the volume imbalance, and I'm looking for it to do that. As for RTH, well, yeah, that is the gap in between, right? I think ES, the way it is looking, I think ES would want to return in here to further sell off. That's what I think right now, because my draw is yet to complete. Now, see, this is a pretty much one-sided session so far, and it is not in a clear range where I can see, okay, we are going higher, we are going lower, something like that. I had the draw for the lows, we've already completed it. Now I'm waiting for the market to show me something that tells me that it's going somewhere. At the moment, I don't think it's going anywhere. Not that it won't go anywhere, I'm like, I don't know where it's going, if it's going also. My draw is complete, and the only thing is that ES is still not completing that draw, so let's see how that functions. Okay. I still think the market should be moving higher at the given moment, but I have no clarity if we are going for those stops or we're not going anywhere. Maybe we just hit this gap and this old low and then again reverse further. I have zero idea about that at the moment. But not the same case for ES, right? So for ES, I'm expecting it to go higher into where the 930 open. Where is the 930 open? Right there, right? So that's the 930 open. Sorry, that is the 930 open. So it should be going for that high right there, the 930 AM high. But NQ, I'm not so sure. It has been much wilder. It might not want to get to the 9:30 open right there high. Okay, ES is still moving higher and we are looking for that high right there, the 9:30 open high. Let's see if ES can take that or not. And there you go. Clearly we have that high as expected. If you look at RTH, we have entered the gap right there. Now let's see how we behave in this area. Do we want to reject, which should be most likely, seeing that this volume imbalance was not hit. When I see market running for liquidity without providing entry, that for me is a phase of the market where it would eventually want to come back. As in, you see this, it did not provide any entry, right? There were gap, no entry, and came to that low right there. Now it's rejecting, it's going higher, but it is not trying to fill any of the gaps, right? That means it's in a rush to get somewhere. But what happens when it gets there? That's where it would want to come back and fill those gaps, right? And if it's bearish, which I believe it most likely is, if it's bearish, it will just keep ripping through those gaps and move straight for that low, right? I'm looking at that gap right there, which we mentioned earlier. And once and if the market reaches there, then I would want to see it show me some sign of a slowdown before it gets there, and then eventually a displacement lower, and like the 2022 model, and then we'll go short for discount PDAs like this one right there. This is not for right now, this is for later on, but I'm just marking it out. Right now my current understanding is to go higher and then we come back lower into this gap right here. I should mark that green, but not right now. It might appear that I'm looking for it to fall down right now, which I'm not expecting. I'm expecting it to go first there and then come back down. Right, that's the 5-minute gap right there. ES at this moment is extremely bullish. It's hitting that order block right there, which would be on, I guess, the 15-minute time frame. Yeah, right there. But what else do I see? I see a fair value gap in context of a breaker. See lower low, higher high, then a breakdown, right? So that's the breaker right there, those three candles. And there is this gap right there. So this has my attention at the moment. It may be, I'm not counting on it yet, but it may be the selling point, which is most likely, in my opinion, for the market to go into this daily volume imbalance. Or the liquidity void, actually. Sorry, it's not the imbalance, it's the daily liquidity void. All right, so we have that high in NQ with no entries taken, right? None of the gaps were hit. Everything is empty still. I think it will want to move higher into that gap, and that's where we should see something interesting. So I'll be waiting for that gap until we make it. I'm just watching. Okay, so I brought myself a little snack as well because I'm getting bored, not of the market again. The life so far is boring, and I understand why it is boring, honestly, but it is what it is. Because no matter what, I'll still be doing it. Might as well make it a little interesting for myself. We are right above 830 open in ES and right below 830 open in NQ. But the best point for a sell off would be above that price. Okay. Now, I don't expect to sell off from here. That's a fact. Because see what do you see in this run? I think it's obvious we are yet to hit the equilibrium price. I know that's not the exact high, but it's okay. It's manageable. Okay, yeah. There you go. We've hit that gap right there. That in itself could be a sell, and that's not trading advice. And I'm not selling it. Simply, I'm waiting for a model to present in that vicinity because ES is yet to take that out, the gap that we pointed out. I do believe it would want to. Let's see if it does. What if it presents the model right here, like you know, displacing lower and opening a gap, structure shift, right? Well, even though ES has not taken that gap, what I understood about draws was draws are not meant to be complete. They are meant for you to see the most likely direction of the market. As much as I like its breakdown, I'm not seeing anything that tells me, like in the sense of a setup, I don't see anything that tells me that we should be selling anywhere here. So I'm still waiting for a setup to show up, which it most likely would if it wants to go lower. I'll be back in just a moment. See, that was exactly what I was telling you. If it wants to go lower, some type of setup would show up. There were days when I would trade this, not in NQ. I've not done this in NQ, but I had a strategy of trading inside bars, the one like this small one right here. What's an inside bar, right? It's inside the previous candle. So that's an inside bar. So I would use liquidity, same ICT's concepts, right? Liquidity, fair value gap, order block. And then I would look for the right inside bar, which I would like in that moment in the right place. And then I would sell there, place the stop on the high. Like I didn't usually sell that. I would usually buy. I was not very good of a short seller back then. But yeah, I'm just sharing that like that used to be my strategy once, but it eventually evolved. and the rewards were pretty decent for that strategy because it's an inside bar, right? Like it's a very small candle. You're entering at the low, placing the stop at the high, and if you're aiming for that low, that's like a very good run. I would say 6 or 7 or something, right? I used to get those returns, but eventually I just couldn't make it work. Not that the strategy was bad in itself, but I could not make it work because I was hopping. Okay, I'm watching this one. If this candle breaks down or not. Just give me a moment. I'm getting ready in case I see something I like. Okay. Mm, I'm not liking ES behavior right now. My draw is lower. We are rejected from the NWOG, NDOG. We've hit the gap. We have displays lower. We have a gap open. I'm taking that. And this is not trade advice, please. You've already seen, if you were with me these live sessions, you've already seen that, well, I'm not really having a good week. It's supposed to come there. Well, it's all right. Happens, right? Okay. All right. Let's see what goes now. I'm also watching ES on the other chart. I would expect this candle to reject lower. Excuse me. All right, all right, all right. Where is my draw? My current draw is the green gap. We could push lower, but right now that holds my attention, and eventually it would be this low right here. Let us see. I do believe we should rip through that gap, but again, I'm just being very alert there. I would liquidate the whole position if the need be right at the gap, but we'll be watching. Let's see if it turns out the way we are expecting it to turn out. And something I understood about myself is I don't like trailing stops. I just can't function in that manner. It tends to, you know, be a little problematic for me. Like, actually, it's not that it becomes problematic per se, but it irritates me because it takes my attention from the trade and from reading the market and reading the price and understanding what I'm doing to what I can protect. When the protection part is already being done by what? By the risk management, right? That is something which we are already in play with, right? The risk management. So, yeah, that's why I just stopped thinking about stops more or less. Now, I won't be doing anything for this demo trade. My attention is right now on my accounts, and the moment I see something that I feel is right, that's where I'm going to book. And obviously, this account would be a little late, and I don't care about that, but that's what it is. And if you're trading this, well, you might be making a mistake, because if you don't know what you're doing and if you don't understand risk management, this can burn you like anything. You won't even realize it. And then eventually you would blame me for it, that I put you in that trade when I did not. Clearly, you pushed the button, you did all the job. It's your thing, right? Your responsibility, your money. I'm simply showcasing what I'm doing, why I think what the market is doing, why it should do that. That is all that I'm moving around. I'm not trying to put you into trades. And see, right there, I don't know if it's going higher or not. Look, like, to be very honest, I don't know that, right? It's a probability game. But that very candle, if even if it is going lower, that very candle would panic you, because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're just copying me or trying to copy me, whatever. And you don't copy what? You don't copy the mindset. You don't copy the understanding that I put in. You've not copied the efforts that I put in to learn this. So you don't know what I'm looking for, how I'm looking at it, right? So just a suggestion, don't trade signals, don't trade what I'm showing you here. If there's something you can learn from it, is that you can do it as well. It'll just take effort and time. And if you do it yourself, you would do it much, much better, trust me. Now, even I wasted money on signals and well, got burned drastically. Leaving that aside, my focus right now is on NQ 5 minute. Okay, 5 minute looks decent. The next candle should want to push much, much lower in 5 minute. That's what I'm seeing. Let's see if we actually get it or not. I do believe we are going for the low. That is my belief, but I want to see how it behaves on this gap, because that will tell me whether I hold it for the low or I close it right there. I can't see the executions, right? Okay. That right there is something I would not appreciate. I would want it to reject, which it clearly isn't. Okay, I'm watching ES. If ES has the same interest, or is it wanting to go higher? Well, I think it should not be wanting to go higher. It should be wanting to hit that gap, which you're not able to see, right? Yeah. It should hit that gap. I'm going to remove that low. It's not important right now. So it should try to hit that gap. That's what I'm watching. Even though it may not. I mean, it is like a high resistance run, but we'll only know if it was a high resistance run when it completes the target, right? Otherwise, it was the wrong direction altogether. So yeah, that's what I'm still watching. Let's see. If this candle is the way it is, like this weak spinning top, the next candle should drop sharply. That's what I think, but it's still not closed. So let's see how it closes first before we say anything about it. Yeah, still I think the next candle should drop. Let's see if it does or it doesn't. The gap has my interest. I mean, I think I should close the whole position, but at the same point, I think it should rip through. So I am working accordingly. Let's see what I choose once I see it hit that gap. Okay, so I liquidated the position in one of my accounts. I'm watching because I cannot handle two of them at the same time. I know that. We have hit the gap, and I think that would be it for me. Yep, that's it. I'm not looking for anything lower right now. And I apologize for the dog in the background. He barks in his sleep, whatever. It's kind of funny sometimes seeing him bark like that. Like he's sleeping, but he's barking. But that's okay. I'm simply sharing that. And well, I think this would bring me to the end of this session. I am not interested in anything in particular now. I mean, we should get that low, but yeah, my journey is over. I was looking for that gap. I did mention that. The only reason why like one more reason why I got off this trade so early is because I didn't like the fact that ES had not hit the gap, right? ES did not take that gap, and that is something I was not liking. I was also not liking the delivery, the way the market was coming down slowly. Same for this one. It may eventually, like, moving slowly, and then eventually it may rip lower. I know that is possible, but well, I'm not placing my money on it. Let's keep it that way. So yeah, I think that would be it. I would be still watching till 11, but why not? Let's just stay. It's okay. I'll just watch. Let's see what it does further. Does it want to go higher or does it want to go lower? As for ES, ES has still not hit the gap I was expecting it to. I mean, I could have stayed a little longer in the trade, expecting a little lower prices, but again, I am not hell-bent on seeing that. I'm especially when I've had a bad week, and bad week for like what, not a bad week I would say, but a bad week in terms of profit, sure, but like not really a bad week, but an unprofitable week, let's keep it that way. And if I'm getting good profits with well, clarity, I would like to take that. And just to be clear, just so I am clear with myself, I don't want myself regretting that it does and I got off here, because there is no because to it. I don't want to regret, because that's what I get paid for taking the right decisions, right? That's the whole game here. Not the right decisions, sorry, for taking decisions. So I was paid for taking a decision today, like selling there and buying back there, right? So that was a good decision, a profitable decision. Now if I stick myself to this very particular decision again, saying that, oh fuck, I did not go there, right, and the market goes there, now what does that do? That invalidates this decision also, and that will cause chaos in the next decision also, right? So what would that result in? Me not getting paid. As simple as that. I'll be taking losses unnecessarily. So that's where I want to tell myself, I'm not telling the audience here, I'm simply telling myself not to, hey, I am a human being, okay? Like, I'm not AI, obviously. I am a human being as well. So I have my feelings, I have my things, and as a human being, growth is inevitable. I mean, if you are not looking for growth, that is, I don't know how to live like that. Like, I haven't lived like that for a long time now. So yeah, that would be growth for me, to not regret when it goes there, which I usually do. Okay, that has always been a pain point for me, that you got off early, you knew it was going there, but still you got off early. That has always been a pain for me, but I don't want it to be a pain for me now, because it will affect my decisions further on. And well, I was looking at that as a silver bullet. That's also was one thing. It's not that I was trading silver bullet, right? I was trading my 2022 model, but it was combined by the silver bullet timings for the New York, for the futures AM session, which was 10 to 11, right? So that's what I was aiming for, and I expected it to go to the opposing liquidity, which is right here. But at the same time, my mind was like, Just give me a moment, please. Yeah, so you see that rejection right there. Now imagine you're in that trade, okay, right now. Like, well, not you. Let's just say I'm in that trade still, okay. Let's say I'm still holding that position. Now this is where, see, I'm just tape reading, right? Even though I have a higher time frame bias aiming for that low and probably much lower, but I'm still trading a 1 minute time frame. So every movement here would affect me. And if you see ES missed the gap, and then we are seeing this movement, right? This is where the struggle would begin. And then what would I do? I would either go into hope that it would go down, or I would panic that it's going higher, going for my stop and my entry point, right? So that is where I don't like that struggle. And I also don't like booking partials. I've seen that. I've done that a lot. That is my approach. Again, you may be working from a different space altogether, right? A different inner space, I would say. So you could look at that as a partial and still hold it for the lower targets. But I personally, at this point, I just don't like taking partials. And when I say I don't like taking partial, that doesn't mean I want full pulls. I just don't like dividing my position in halves and risking that amount. And it just doesn't make sense to me, in the sense to book half here and then wait for half or get stopped out on that half. Like, I'm like, dude, if I'm booking half there, like, that's my approach. Again, see, try to understand, that's just my personal opinion. If I'm booking half there and let's say it does go to my target, which is right here, like, which is not very far. So that eventually would give me the same percentage. Like, just there would be a slight difference, of course. But as in a slight difference, as in, okay, let's just actually do the math here. Okay, we sold here, that was our stop right there, and this was the target that we took, right? 1.9 hour. Okay. Excuse me for that. So that was 1.9 hour that we took. Okay, now when, like, that was not 1.9 hour, I mean, that's 2, like 1.85. Let's just keep it at 1. Let's round it off to 2. Okay, let's just round it off to 2. Okay, so that's 2 hour. You took your first partial, you book 50% of your position, and now you're holding for lower targets. Okay, which would be how much? Which is 3 hour, like in general 3 hour. Okay, like not very far, it's almost 3 hour. So now half 0.5 hour gave you 1 hour, right? Because it's, this one position gave you 2 hour the position, right? So if you're if you're just 1% in total, this particular booking gave you 1%, right? And you're still holding the other half for this. So that gives you another 1.5%, correct? That gives you a total of what? 2.5%, right? So now I go through all this struggle, all this mental hassle for that 0.5%. That's the only extra addition, right? If I close my position right here at 2 hour, that would be 2% straight away in a simple run with no, no hassle, no going through this that's happening right now. Again, it can happen when I am in a trade. Let's say it was here only and it's doing this. Now there's nothing I can do about it, right? So that's a different game altogether. I'm just talking about this particular scenario right here. So if I'm doing this and I booked 2% there, and instead I divided that position into halves and took 1 here and 1 there, that gave me 2.5%. But look at the hassle I had to go through. Look at the risk that I had to be exposed to all that time, right? I was exposed. I'm not trailing my stop because trailing my stop doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I can, like, this would be the stop now, but dude, if that reverses on you, that's nothing. You've lost what you booked, in a sense, like some part of it at least. And leaving space, actually, that's like this math here is not the problem. I know the problem is leaving space for so many decisions, right? So many variables. I realized I cannot handle that. I'm not saying nobody can. Of course, there are people that do this and they love it and they do it perfectly, like, well, beautifully. And I appreciate that. Like, even I watch it, I'm like, I really think I can do this or not. But like, I would love to do this, but I really cannot. It doesn't resonate with me. Just like, example, I would love to be the Prime Minister of India, right? I would love to be the Prime Minister of India. But do I really have the willingness to put in that effort to be among people so much and to constantly connect with new people and talk to them, understand them, do this, do that? Like, no, bro, that's not me. I'm but quite introverted. I don't engage so much. I don't like engaging so much. I just observe people. So that's one thing. And the only engagement that I have is when it comes to the market. If somebody is talking market to me, dude, I'm engaging full on, right? So that is me. But being the Prime Minister and talking to all the people is just not me. So I may want that, and that's a beautiful thing altogether, but I'm really not cut out for it. I don't resonate with that, right? So that's what I'm talking about here. Leaving so many decisions on the table just creates anxiety for me. I feel like, okay, I have a lot of space to fuck up and I don't want that. So that is why I stopped, like, I removed the fuck up. Like, what did I do last week? Like, let's just look into it. Right? I told you right here, we are going down, right? On this somewhere here, I did tell on the live stream that we are going down and I sold there, right? But then what did I do? I left because I was experimenting something and I was also going through a bad week altogether. So what did I do? I closed the position midway, right? Not even midway, like I almost at entry point. So I closed that position there, then I bought there, then I got stopped out, then I sold again right there for that target. Now, isn't that, for me, isn't that unnecessary? And I will not say stupid. I will not say that because it's not, honestly. Some people do that and they do it very well. So it's not stupid, but isn't that unnecessary for me? I mean, I don't see why would you leave so much space for decision making when it's just one decision. There have to be clear-cut rules in the sense of decisions. Like, see, for this trade, I did not leave enough space for decision, right? There was this displacement. I was looking for a lower draw. There was a gap that opened up. I sold. I held on to it. I did not say, okay, I'll book some here, and then I'll book there, right? Or maybe I'll book there some and then I'll go for that low. I did not say anything like that. I was looking for this low very particularly, and that's where I booked. I know the booking is different here, but anyway, that's where I booked, right? That's the low I was looking for. So not enough space for any kind of decisions, like variable decisions. And that's what I don't like. That's why, see the thing that it's doing here and the way ES is behaving right now. Do you really think it's going lower? I mean, it's highly unlikely, but that's just a 1 minute chart. I mean, it could go, let's say, till here, take that stop, maybe not even take that, just take that out and then eventually move lower. It could do that. It's a 1 minute chart. So you're trying to align the best of decisions in the smallest of time frames. Oh, that was a lot of energy anyway. Like, I'm all right. I think something got into me to make me understand what I wanted to understand, really. It's taking quick decisions and clear-cut decisions. Like for this trade, I booked 2 hour instantly. And now imagine if I'm still holding this position with no booking. Okay, let's just say I'm not booked. I've not booked anything and I'm holding for that low. Now this is a struggle right here. I'll be like, okay, this candle rejected from the gap again. I think we are going higher. I think we want to take that one out and maybe hit that gap again. And then I don't know if it wants to go lower or maybe it wants to rip that higher. So many variables right there on the face of it, and that irritates me. That gives me anxiety. So I don't like doing that. That's what I realized this week. that's why when I did this, even though I did it, like I think I did this 2 days in a week. Sorry, 2 days this week. This was Wednesday, and I think it was Tuesday, right? Yeah, I did the same on Tuesday as well, fucking around in a sense. Not on Monday, definitely. Monday was not something that I was interested in. So not for Monday, but yeah, I did that for Tuesday and Wednesday. And we have rolled over into Thursday today. And that's where I'm bringing my cool, calm, collected self again, following rules, following clear cut, like algorithmic. Not just that the market is algorithmic, but you are behaving in sense of that algorithm. You are behaving in alignment with that algorithm. If this happens and not this, then I won't do that, right? मतलब अगर ये हुआ और ये नहीं हुआ तो मैं ये करूँगा. That's the Hindi version for it, because the English one sounds kind of confusing. But हाँ, अगर कोई एक चीज़ हुई बट ये एक चीज़ नहीं हुई तो मैं ट्रेड में नहीं घुसूंगा. I've mentioned that many times, right? In many of the lives I've mentioned things like that if ES ऐसा कर देता है and NQ does not do that, then I would not be putting up a trade, or I would be closing the position if ES does that and NQ does not, right? So that's algorithmic understanding. So when you're having an algorithmic understanding, you also have to have what? An algorithmic executional approach. Right. I think that should be the end of the session for today. I am pretty much done. Yeah, we could see this move lower, but I'm not so confident on that yet. Looking at the consolidation and all, it could go lower. That's still my draw. But since ES has not taken the gap, and well, it's moving very slowly lower and moving very energetically higher. So I think it would be wanting to take that high out, and all this time NQ could just remain in the range and not take that high out. That's what I would prefer in general, not for the trade obviously, but just for the sake of the narrative. I think I would want to see that high remain intact. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See you tomorrow. Obviously not in the PM session, I would be doing it on my own. And yeah, that would be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow AM session for NQ Friday. I won't be there for London. Like I'm not doing London lives anymore. I just don't want to. Maybe I would. Again, that's something I'm still questioning, because well, it's kind of boring. Live is kind of boring to me. So yeah, well, that would be it. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.